I thank you for your service, man, for Veterans Day.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So
you also missed my birthday.
Yeah, but that's not as important.
No, that's pretty important.
No, Veterans Day.
No, Marine Corps birthday is a pretty big one.
Yeah, 250.
And it's the day before Veterans Day. So.
250. Yeah.
The big 250.
The big 250.
Yeah, I'm sure Marines are wreaking havoc everywhere this month.
So
shout out to my brothers in arms and my sisters.
That's dope, though. I mean, the Marines being 250, Veterans Day, all of that.
Another good celebration.
I know you probably saw the honor flight.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. They had a special guest appearance from former President Barack Obama. I've done a couple volunteers because they have a lot of places where they fly in and out of. They'll fly into DC. A few years back, they had a flight coming into San Diego. So I went down to be the little receiving party to, welcome everybody back home and everything like that. So that was pretty cool. But really I mean, to have any president, not just Obama specifically, but to have any president greet you on your plane at the tarmac while you're landing,
100%.
It's a monumental experience.
When I saw the video of this one, and he popped his head around, he was speaking on the mic. Yeah. And then he popped his head around, and then, some of those vets saw him, and their faces like lit up, you know. And as they're exiting the plane, he's shaking. And Obama's notorious for this, which is I loved, is that he'll stand there, he'll shake everybody's single person's hand. Yeah. And he and people would walk by. Oh man, last time I met a president was Gerald Ford, and all this stuff, and they're just a happiness, man. Some of these guys are like, late 90s, 100 years old,
right.
And they're just like lighting up, just because they met Barack Obama. And I think it was amazing for him to go down there and do that. And I think it's amazing that the honor flight takes place.
Super dope, It was great that he could show his appreciation, because I mean these are all of our old school war vets, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. The fact that we still got a lot of these guys that are still kicking is
they deserve a red carpet wherever they go.
Yeah, because one of them, I remember listening to it. One of them was saying, like the reception that they got when they actually did return from war wasn't very warm, wasn't very welcoming. Because a lot of people didn't feel like we deserved to be over there in the first place in a lot of those conflicts. Yeah. But, now to be recognized in the slightest just by one person, even though that one person is Barack Obama, like I know it means the world to a lot of people.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and you can see it in their faces. Couple years ago, man, and this stayed with me. I had an experience with a vet. He was a World War II vet. I don't remember how old he said he was, but obviously he was up there. Yeah. I believe he was in his 90s. I'm a person who, if I'm walking through a door, I hold the door when somebody's behind me, or even if they're, and especially if they're, elderly or whatnot, and they're maybe 10 steps behind me, but I know they're getting there, I'll stand there and hold the door. Yeah. I've always been that way since a kid. My dad instilled that in me, hold the door. So there was a day where I was walking and I saw this older guy, he's moving a little bit slow. He had one of those big canes with the four legs on it, and he's walking, but he's walking. And so I stood there and held the door, and he's as he's walking, he's telling me it's okay, go. He's waving me off. I was like, nah, man. I was like, come on through. And as he's walking, I saw his hat. He was wearing his hat. It was an army hat. So as he's walking through, he goes, young man, I gotta thank you. And he shook my hand, and he goes, most people your age wouldn't do that. He goes, I'd wave them off and they'd walk away. He goes, so thank you. And he goes, and just to let you know, you just held the door for a World War II vet that is 90, I forgot what he said, but 90-something years old. And then he just literally like went into stories. Like, it was like, I really got the feeling he just didn't have anybody to talk to.
A lot of them don't.
And it was venting. Yeah. And so he stood there for a second. I'm still holding the door. He's kind of in the doorway. And he's just talking, and he's telling me stories. When he came back from the war, he actually got redeployed and came back a second time. Damn. And because he came back injured, not seriously, but injured, went back, then came back after the war was over and all that. And he's tearing up. He's telling me these stories, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm not walking away, man. For one, it was very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I like hearing some of the stories. Yeah. As sad as some of them are, but I also have a lot of respect for people in that position. And so that it was just a memorable moment, man. I just sat there and I stood there and I just listened to him for probably a good 25 minutes. Yeah. Just talk. And as I said when I first started telling this, I don't think he had much to talk to, because when all was said and done and we parted ways, he slowly walked on, and there was a shuttle, like a shuttle bus, and there was a bunch of other older people. I don't think they were all vets per se.
Yeah.
So I believe he was probably like in some sort of assisted living situation where they
Right.
bring him to the stores and whatnot.
Right.
So he may not have people to vent to or talk to or whatnot, but the fact that he stood there and took the time, told me some stories, brought tears to his own eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I felt humbled. I felt humbled.
No, that's a lot.
So
it's a lot of them. You're right. There's a lot of people that don't. I mean, because these guys are all full of stories.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story to tell.
And it hit me when you said that you went down there to be the welcoming party, because it's not the same, but it just reminded me of the same situation of just being there, because you show that same love. It's like so that's dope, man.
That's all it is. It's all very much appreciated. Like nobody knows what they're getting into when they go into the military.
For sure.
Everybody has their reasons, whether it be patriotic, whether they're come from a long line of military service members.
Yeah, I have friends that jumped in for the education/job opportunity.
Whether they want the school benefits from it, the GI Bill, like there's a lot of reasons that people go in, but once you get in, it's a life-changing experience, especially if you deploy, especially if you go to a combat zone. Whether you agree with it or not, you don't have a choice.
Right.
And, sometimes you think you're doing it for one reason, only to find out years later, which is why there's so many disgruntled veterans, because it's like, I thought I was doing the right thing. Then you find out like, okay, we weren't over there with the best of intentions. Like, what were we really doing over there? Why was I being a pawn used to do all of this crap or whatever?
Right.
But at the same time, like there is still a strong support for the country and everything that this country is supposed to represent.
100%.
So as a veteran, it's always nice when I can run into, especially an older veteran. Like I will try to sit there and listen to their stories that they have to tell. Because like you said, they don't really have a lot of people to talk to.
No, they don't.
Unfortunately.
And generally, when I see, especially older people, when I see the hats, I rarely, I know there's the whole stolen valor thing, but I rarely see somebody who's wearing one of those, especially older people who are wearing those hats. They're not wearing it just because they got a hat and they're wearing it. They're wearing it because that's symbolic to them.
They survive. Like we're survivors.
So whenever I see that, I'm generally like, I'll make a comment, hey, thank you for service, straight out.
And I know there's a lot of, and I mostly see it with the younger vets that feel some kind of way about the thank you for your service line. It's
right.
Like, what am I supposed to say? You're welcome. Like, like it's anybody that takes it the wrong way, I think should reevaluate how they're taking it. Cause it's not, there really is no response there is no appropriate response.
Right. So what I've learned is the older generation, the World War II vets, even the Vietnam vets, things like that. Whenever I say thank you for service, they respond with thank you.
Yeah.
That's their response. Now, like you said, younger people, it's usually awkward. It is more awkward.
Yeah.
And I think they should take heed to the older vets.
Yeah.
Because for me, I almost feel like the appropriate might be thank you back.
No, that's all you can say.
But
really.
I don't think there's a right answer.
There's not. Because I mean, the way I look at it, and maybe I'm unique in the way that I view it.
You actually just did it when I said thank you for service. You said thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like that's what I'm used to hearing from most people. But there are people who get a little bit, like you said,
they get weirded by it. It's like, what am I supposed to say? Like I'm just, and which is understandable. I get that. But for me, it's like an acknowledgement of the acknowledgement. Like you saying thank you, like you're showing your appreciation. Like I appreciate the appreciation. And I used to say that a lot jokingly. Like, oh, I appreciate the appreciation.
100%.
But yeah, for me, the valid response is just thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that,
and it's that, and then I do hear people that sort of demean certain branches, and I don't agree with that either, because
well,
Coast Guard.
No, if
you're
you're a service member, it's okay, but if you're not,
for sure, 100%, because there's always
it's like
Marines versus the Armies.
It's like the family rivalry.
It's the sports competition, right?
Exactly.
It's the teams. but when I hear people, because I've seen situations where somebody's like, they're talking to a Coast Guard or even like a National Guardsman, and they're just like, oh, you're not like real military.
Yeah.
No, they are. Like they are, and don't demean them like that.
Right.
It's not that, like you said, like if it's somebody else, like if it's a Marine, like just shooting the shit, that's one thing. But But just a civilian or anybody like that to say something like that, or like, don't do that. Don't demean them like that, because they're doing something that you sure as hell ain't
couldn't
doing.
even do.
So just
didn't even roger it for.
So don't demean that.
That's
like I appreciate them all for what they all do.
Crazy.
They all play a part. So
yeah, I'm always gonna give the Air Force and the Coast Guard shit, mainly because I'm jealous, because I've seen their quality of life versus the Marines' quality of life.
Right.
And it's red-headed bastard stepchild versus the golden child with the spoon in their mouth, you know? Like, Air Force bases are top tier 4-star resorts. Marine Corps bases are like your Super 8s, your Motel 6s, you know? So,
Super 8.
Night and day difference, you know? But
checking for bed bugs.
Nah, you don't have to check. You know there's bed bugs. There's bed bugs, there's asbestos, there's mold. This building was probably condemned 25 years ago and it just never got torn down. But we still need some beds, so...
Thank you for your service.
And that's what the disability payments are for from the VA. Can you